giant sponges resembling vases, alien-like jellyfish, segmented bristle-covered worms, and enormous octopuses. This is the latest discovery in Antarctica that literally forces us to rethink life under the ice. Scientists found them after a massive iceberg broke away, and these findings are now turning into a true treasure trove of biological diversity. It turned out to be a hidden vault of ancient life beneath the ice, concealed from view for centuries. In January 2025, a huge iceberg roughly the size of Chicago, named A84, broke off from the George VI ice shelf in Antarctica. This event itself sparked a powerful wave of scientific research and discussion. This largest ice shelf stretches about 450 kilometers in length, 19 to 69 kilometers in width, and has an average thickness of around 249 meters. During the Antarctic summer, from November to late February, the ice shelf melts on the surface, forming elongated meltwater lakes that create a unique microclimate on the edge of this icy fortress. These lakes, shaped like ribbons, have prompted scientists to rethink sub-ice geography and melting dynamics. They act as bridges between the surface world and the underwater depths, allowing researchers to study how light and heat temporarily penetrate the ice and how this affects the local biodiversity. This is how they got their name. When the iceberg drifted away, it exposed part of the ocean floor never seen before. Researchers aboard the research vessel Fulcor, nearby in the Bellingshausen Sea, immediately changed their plans upon learning about the iceberg. They realized this was an incredibly rare chance to explore something unknown and extraordinary, like lifting a stone in a forest to see what hides underneath. The team used an underwater robot named Sebastian and spent 8 days exploring the ocean depths. They carefully adjusted lighting angles to reveal the delicate details of underwater life without disturbing its natural habitat. This approach allowed them to capture the first images and measurements, which later became crucial for developing hypotheses and theories. They descended to depths exceeding 1,300 meters. Down there, they discovered a hidden ecosystem unlike anything even experienced oceanographers had encountered before. Large corals and sponges, literally teeming with marine animals, formed a complex web of interdependence, where each member of the community served as food or shelter for another, a whole world beneath the ice. The researchers expected to find some life, but they did not anticipate such diversity, especially given that life diversity at such depths and harsh conditions is generally less than on coral reefs. Yet, they found an astonishing abundance. This shocked many expedition members and forced a reconsideration of life's boundaries. And this ancient underwater life was not merely surviving, it was thriving in this harsh, icy environment for a very long time. Anemones resembling fluffy little trees, sea spiders, icefish, and octopuses all form stable communities that appear to have evolved in close connection with melting rates and the structure of the ice sheet. The research was broadcast live for scientists worldwide, with recordings publicly available so anyone interested could follow the methods, data, and conclusions. Most astonishingly, some of the discovered species appear to be new to science, making this discovery particularly important for taxonomy and understanding evolutionary processes. Indeed, new species are likely to appear in Antarctica in 2025, some possibly endemic to this region where isolation from the rest of the world persisted for millions of years. Antarctica is not only far away, it has been isolated for so long that unique evolutionary branches developed. It is surrounded by the Antarctic circumpolar current, which acts as a giant natural barrier separating ecosystems. Much like a deep moat around a castle, these currents ring Antarctica, influencing organism migration and distribution. Even if these species turn out not to be new, scientists still found snails, bristleworms, crustaceans like tiny crabs and shrimps, and a phantom jellyfish, raising many questions about the connections between ancient and modern communities. This jellyfish species is very rare and looks otherworldly. Its official name is difficult to pronounce, So let's simply call it the giant phantom jellyfish. It is enormous, and its distinctive shape often brings to mind a giant umbrella. Its bell, the round, umbrella-like top part, can exceed a meter in diameter, making it one of the most impressive subjects in underwater biology. Such size implies complex biological mechanisms and potentially unique energy chains feeding a huge, still mysterious ecosystem. It has 4 long tentacles trailing behind it, each up to 10 meters long, about the length of a school bus. Scientists first discovered it in 1899, but took 60 years to recognize it as an entirely new jellyfish species. The phantom jellyfish has a transparent purple body that looks somewhat ghostly, as if glowing in the dark. Instead of typical jellyfish tentacles, it possesses ribbon-like arms that help it catch food and draw it to its centrally located mouth, making its feeding method uniquely elegant. Although jellyfish have no brain like ours, researchers observing this giant phantom jellyfish noticed something remarkable. It seemed this otherworldly creature moved its arms very cautiously and confidently, especially when navigating narrow spaces on the sea floor, avoiding abrupt motions as if to prevent injury or disturbance to others. It gave the impression of great care, sparking numerous theories about potential movement coordination in deep darkness and confined space. Brrr, creepy. Is this another intelligent creature? Jellyfish lack a brain but have a simple nerve net that helps them sense their surroundings. Still, how this phantom jelly moved made scientists wonder if it might be smarter or better coordinated than other jellyfish. Studying it may help scientists understand how animals without brains explore and survive in challenging underwater environments where pressure and temperature pose extra hurdles. Possibly, such observations will provide keys to understanding basic principles of neural network interactions in marine settings. Another intriguing find was tiny segmented worms known as bristle worms. Scientists call them polychaetes, but bristle worms sounds more fun. Many species inhabit the cold, deep ocean where light barely reaches the seabed. Bristle worms have bodies made of many segments, each side lined with tiny bristles that aid movement and spatial awareness. These bristles not only help with locomotion, but also serve as a signaling system to detect dangers and resources nearby. For example, the Antarctic scale worm lives in very cold, deep waters and has shiny golden bristles, giving it an unusual appearance against the dark water background. During the Antarctic deep-sea study, the team also found giant sponges shaped like vases. Sponges usually grow very slowly because their life cycle depends on stable conditions and nutrient availability in deep water. So for them to reach such sizes, they must have grown there for a very long time, possibly hundreds of years, underscoring their role as witnesses to long-term ecological processes. Their size indicates that deep-sea animals living around them did not settle recently. These marine inhabitants lived there for decades, forming thriving communities beneath the ice, small ecosystems within the icy armor. This means ancient life really was hiding under the ice, ready to be rediscovered. This greatly surprised scientists, as prior ideas about life under such harsh conditions often conflicted with reality. Earlier, researchers lowered cameras into holes in the ice or visited iceberg areas long after the ice had broken off, limiting their access. At that time, they mostly saw bare, empty seafloor with few living creatures. But this time, the team arrived only weeks after the iceberg calved and could observe what lay directly beneath it, like a map revealing secrets of the under-ice world. The first 14 kilometers behind the ice shelf may harbor rich, vibrant ecosystems filled with giant and smaller organisms interacting through complex feeding and symbiotic relationships. This revelation confirms that active, viable, and stable communities can exist under the ice. This dark, cold, and hidden place hosts diverse creatures, proving life can thrive in seemingly too harsh or cold environments. These ecosystems can serve as models for understanding life in extreme conditions. On the other hand, finding life there is not surprising. Many animals live in dark, cold, underwater places, so it is logical they also inhabit sub-ice shelves where light doesn't reach. This fact highlights a paradox. Harsh conditions did not deter, but rather attracted more life forms than expected. The ice conceals and protects them from everything happening above. Yet, surprisingly, many different species live there, though it was once truly isolated. In fact, it resembles the seafloor in Antarctic regions without ice, where ecosystems are just as complex. How is this possible? Usually, tiny plants called phytoplankton bloom near the surface where sunlight penetrates, supporting the oceanic food chain. Small, shrimp-like animals called krill feed on these plants at night, creating a biological rhythm observable here as well. When full, krill sinks to the ocean floor, delivering food and nutrients and acting as a transport system for energy in the depths. Even their waste feeds deep-sea creatures, forming a closed ecological network. But when a massive ice sheet covers the ocean, sunlight can't reach through, so no plants grow, and krill do not bring food there. Scientists assumed this meant less food and fewer animals, yet they still found abundant life, showing nature always finds ways to sustain biodiversity, even in the harshest conditions. It appears that food and nutrients probably reach under the ice, carried by underwater currents like rivers flowing beneath the ocean. Scientists found animals that had lived there a long time, suggesting these currents, mainly formed from glacial meltwater, bring enough nutrition to keep the ecosystem healthy and full of life, allowing it to thrive for long periods without outside help. This finding highlights the importance of physical environmental dynamics for biological sustainability in polar zones, and reminds us that water and light are the main drivers of life, even beneath icy deserts. In fact, no one knows what will happen to these deep-sea creatures after the iceberg drifts away. These beings are unknown regarding how long they lived under thick ice in highly stable, completely dark conditions. Undoubtedly, changes are unlikely to suit them. Therefore, losing the ice shelf could completely disrupt their accustomed environment. One scientist mentioned that the ice shelf from which the iceberg broke is gradually retreating, a worrying sign for the long-term stability of that unique world captured at depth. Such changes remind us that the ice shell is not simply a static roof, but an active participant in sustaining underwater ecosystems. It has retreated approximately 40 kilometers in the last 50 years, part of a broader trend. Antarctic ice is melting increasingly fast, leading to global sea level rise and triggering a cascade of consequences for the planet's climate and ecosystems. This is why the Antarctic discovery matters. It not only adds new species and phenomena to the region's biological map, but also becomes part of the wider context of changes in Earth's icy zones. The team is trying to understand not only what is happening now, but also how this hidden ecosystem fits into the bigger picture. If we can understand how this place changes over decades or centuries, we may be able to predict what lies ahead and develop methods to monitor and preserve these unique ecosystems. Admit it, it's amazing how much an ice crack can tell us, right? This simple geological event, behind which lies a whole array of biological and ecological consequences, opens the door to new questions about the interactions among atmosphere, ocean, and cryosphere. And let's not forget, many observations mark the first step toward understanding how such systems may respond to rapidly changing climatic conditions in the future.